Let's clear something up before we start, because I think it's costing a lot of women a lot of unnecessary effort. Most advice about attraction is really just advice about getting noticed. Look a certain way, walk into a room a certain way, and yeah, you'll get looked at. That's real. That's just how eyes work. But getting looked at and getting pulled toward are two completely different systems running in a man's head, and almost nobody talks about the second one because it's a lot less photogenic than the first. There are 7 specific things that flip that deeper switch, the one that makes a guy think about someone at 2 a.m. for absolutely no logical reason. And I promise you, almost none of these are what you'd expect if you've read the typical magazine checklist. Some of these are behaviors, some are things you say without even meaning to, and one of them, number 5, is something men will basically never admit to on camera because it makes them sound less in control than they like to pretend they are. Let's start with the one that has nothing to do with how you look at all. Why attracted and pulled aren't the same thing. Quick bit of context because this matters for the whole video. Physical attraction is fast. It's the front door. It gets a man's attention, and honestly, it doesn't take much. That system is not picky, and I say that with love. But attention is not the same as pull. Pull is what happens after the front door, when a man starts orbiting someone in his head without meaning to. It's rooted in psychological safety, curiosity, and the sense of being specifically seen, not generically validated, not just hot, but seen. Here's the difference in practice. Surface attraction is easy to create and just as easy to lose. Deep pull is harder to build, but once it's actually there, it's genuinely hard to shake, which is exactly why it's worth understanding how it actually gets built. One more tease before we get into it. Thing number 5 is the one men will never admit to because it exposes something most guys don't want to say out loud. Let's get into the list. Thing number 1, you make him feel like himself, not a performance. Here's something most men are doing constantly without even realizing it: performing. At work, he's performing competence. With his friends, he's performing whatever version of himself the group expects. On a lot of first dates, he's performing confidence he might not fully feel yet. It's exhausting, and most guys have just adapted to it as background noise. So here's the pull. When a woman makes him feel like he doesn't have to do any of that, like he can be a little awkward, admit he doesn't know something, make a bad joke and have it land fine anyway, that registers as relief. Real, physical relief. Not excitement, relief. And relief is way stickier than excitement, long term. Watch for it in his posture, honestly. Compare how relaxed he is with you versus how on he is in a group setting. If the shoulders drop and the jokes get worse, in a good way, that's the tell. Here's the insider line, and I want you to actually remember this one. Men don't fall for the woman who's most impressed by the performance. They fall for the one who makes the performance completely unnecessary. Thing number 2, you have something he doesn't fully understand yet. Quick psychology lesson, and I promise this won't be boring. The brain treats unsolved things as more engaging than fully explained things. That's just how attention works. It's why you're still watching this video and not just reading the recap in the description. No offense. The pull here: a woman who has real opinions, real interests, and a private inner world that doesn't get handed over all at once. She creates what's basically an open loop in a man's head, something he keeps low-key coming back to, trying to figure out. Now, to be clear, this is not about playing games or being intentionally cagey and mysterious like you're in a spy movie. Nobody's impressed by manufactured mystery for very long. That stuff runs out fast. This is about actually having a full life and identity that exists independently of him. Think of it like a TV show. Nobody's binge watching a series where the entire plot gets explained in the first 5 minutes of episode 1. Here's everything about everyone, roll credits. That show gets canceled. The shows people obsess over are the ones that reveal things slowly, on their own schedule. Be the slow reveal, not the cold open. Thing number 3, you regulate instead of escalate. A lot of relationships, honestly, a lot of dynamics between people in general, run hot. Conflict escalates. Tension escalates. Everybody's reacting to everybody's reaction, and it spirals. Here's the pull. A woman who can stay calm and grounded during tension, instead of matching stress with more stress, becomes someone a man's nervous system starts to associate with safety instead of chaos. And this happens whether he consciously notices it or not. Here's the actual mechanism, since I know some of you like the why behind these things. Men are often drawn, without realizing it, to whoever makes their nervous system feel regulated rather than activated. That calm in the middle of the storm quality is genuinely magnetic, mostly because it's rare. Most people, understandably, get reactive under pressure. I want to be clear, this isn't about being passive or swallowing your feelings to keep the peace. That's a different problem entirely, and a real one. This is about expressing what you feel without pouring gasoline on a fire that's already burning. There's a real difference between "I'm upset and here's why" and "I'm upset and now so is the entire apartment complex." Thing number 4. You take him seriously without inflating his ego. There are 2 failure modes here, and both of them kill the pull, just in different ways. Failure mode 1. Constant criticism, undermining, nitpicking. That one's obvious. Nobody's drawn to someone who makes them feel small. Failure mode 2 is sneakier. Constant flattery. Validating everything, agreeing with everything, praising everything on autopilot. That one feels nice in the moment, but it quietly kills long-term pull too, because it strips out respect. If everything gets a gold star, the gold star stops meaning anything. The sweet spot is a woman who genuinely listens, actually engages with what he's saying, challenges him when he's actually wrong, and gives real, earned praise instead of a reflexive, "Yeah, totally, that's so smart," to literally everything he says. Here's a good tell. Does she ask follow-up questions and actually remember the answer next week? Or is she nodding along, mentally already planning what she's making for dinner? Men can absolutely tell the difference between being flattered and being genuinely heard, and only one of those two builds a real pull. Thing number 5. You make him feel chosen, not just wanted. All right, here's the one I promised, the one men don't like admitting to. There's a difference between being wanted and being chosen, and it's bigger than it sounds. Wanted is generic. Plenty of people can want plenty of people. It doesn't require much discernment. Chosen is specific. It implies he was selected, on purpose, over other viable options, for particular reasons that are actually about him. The pull comes from small moments that make it clear a woman isn't just settling or going along with whatever happened to be available. She's specifically choosing him. And yeah, I'll say the vulnerable part out loud since apparently I'm the one who has to. Most men genuinely want to feel specifically chosen, even though we've collectively agreed as a gender to never say that sentence to each other directly. It doesn't fit the whole unbothered energy we're contractually required to perform in the group chat. Watch for this. Does she initiate plans sometimes instead of only ever responding to his? Does she give specific reasons she likes him? Actual specifics, not generic, "you're so nice," versus vague, "could apply to anyone" compliments. Has she ever let him see, even a little, that she chose him over other options she genuinely could have had? That combination is what creates the feeling of being chosen instead of just available. Thing number 6. You have your own momentum. Men are drawn to people who are visibly moving somewhere. Goals, growth, interests, some sense of direction, versus someone whose entire life orbits around the relationship and nothing else. Here's the pull. A woman with her own momentum is inherently harder to take for granted because there's a constant, visible reminder that her time and attention are actually valuable and genuinely finite. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about actually having a life that's full, regardless of whether he's in it. And look, unconditional availability, while sweet in theory, tends to flatten the pull over time. Not because scarcity is some manipulative tactic you need to weaponize, but simply because a full calendar is naturally more magnetic than an empty one. Nobody's drawn to a blank page. People are drawn to a story that's already in progress. Here's the insider line. Men don't actually want a woman who has no life without them, despite what every rom-com from the 2000s implied. They want a woman who has a full, real, busy life, and still, specifically, chooses to make room for them in it. Thing number 7. You make him feel safe to be vulnerable. Last one, and I saved it for last on purpose, because it's the deepest one, and it mirrors something most men will never say directly. Most guys carry around a low-grade, constant fear of being judged, mocked, or written off as weak the second they show real emotion. It's running quietly in the background of basically every male interaction, whether he'd admit it or not. Here's the pull. A woman who responds to vulnerability with calm acceptance instead of shock, judgment, or immediately jumping into fix-it mode becomes someone he associates with genuine safety. Not excitement, safety. And safety, it turns out, is a much stronger long-term pull than excitement ever was. Watch how he tests the waters. Most men don't just open up cold. They'll drop a small, vulnerable admission first. A bad day, a quiet insecurity, something low stakes. How that small moment gets received determines whether he ever goes further. React with warmth and the door opens wider next time. React with surprise or judgment, even mild judgment, and that door quietly shuts. probably for good. This is the real deep pull, if I'm being honest with you. Not chemistry, not even the curiosity from thing number 2. It's the slow, accumulated sense that with this one specific person, he doesn't have to brace for impact anymore. Which of these 7 do you think you already do naturally, and which one do you think you need to work on? Drop your number in the comments. I actually read them. And if this one landed for you, stick around for the next video because I'm covering the flip side, the things that quietly kill that same pull once it's already built, often without either person realizing what happened. Subscribe if you're new here. I break this stuff down every week. No fluff, just what's actually going on in a man's head. I'll see you in the next one.